Up, nerds? It's your boy, your not calm Tom. But today it's actually Dylan again. Hey, what's up? We're on to my devlog number 2. So last time I posted a video, I know I haven't been posting many because I'm busy with school. It was a devlog of my survival game that I did with James for our Foundations of Game Mechanics program. Not program, class. So for our second assignment, our second assignment that YFAT gave us, hi YFAT, was Emergence prototype. Now, what is Emergence, you say? So, to explain before I explain what the prototype is, let's explain what Emergence is. So, what's an emergent game? What's an example of emergence in a game? Well, first example that comes up is Minecraft. And why is that? Because in Minecraft, you have a handy dandy little thing called redstone. Right? And inside Minecraft, redstone makes electricity. You know? Makes electricity. And so that means you can make currents and all this stuff. Right? So when Notch made that in Minecraft, he's like, oh, cool, and you can make electricity and power doors and stuff, you know? Like, you didn't... Or make, like, launchers. Like, you know, you might have a couple of ideas. But what he didn't realize that you can make computers. Because when people got their hand on Minecraft, I remember seeing one video where a guy made a fully functional computers with like 4 megabytes of memory or something like that. Like, it was crazy. You know, that's insane. So I'm pretty sure Notch didn't expect that. So that emerged from the game. You see? Emergence. Yeah. Emerged. It's an easy way to remember it. So whenever the developer, so there's the developer, this guy, the developer gives the player, oh my god, what's wrong with my player? Hold on. Sweet. Gives the player a tool or something they can edit, they get emergence. That's what I found, right? Another example of emergence is Dishonored. Actually, our teacher disagrees with this, and I didn't know why people thought it was emergent until I asked them. So, why Dishonored is emergent? It's not fully emergent, but there are parts of it that are. So, the weapons and the tools inside the game, the players came up with like strategies and ways to use them they didn't expect. You know, that is great. That is a classic example of that is emergence. That's like through and through. So another example is Halo 3 custom games and Forge mode. You know, sorry, I'm sick. Players do crazy stuff with that all the time. So that's another great example of it. You know, you do things that developers don't expect them to use. So that's what emergence is. You know, just I'm pretty sure you get the point by now. So what's our prototype? What did we do to replicate this? Because that was our assignment, to create a prototype that had emergence in it. Now, emergence is hard to like create on purpose. It's something that happens naturally in a game. It's like it's gonna happen or doesn't. Not every game has emergence. But some games have a little bit, some games have a lot. It really depends. Like, the less rules in a game and the more rules you can bend or break, the more emergent it will become, potentially. Okay, so this time I was not with James, unfortunately, but we had a group of 4 people. So we had myself, we had PY, we had Liz, and we had Shirley. And PY is the best in the world. He is king. He is amazing. He is great. PY is a hero, and I'll get to why that is in a minute. So during YFAT's lesson, I was thinking about, okay, so what games can I think of that are emergent what did I come up with? Came up with Minecraft. I don't know why this represents Minecraft, but it does. And I came up with Halo. And how can we combine these two to make a prototype? Well, I thought, okay, so what about Halo has emergence? Well, custom games, right? You can edit spawn times, weapon damage. You can make your own levels, all that stuff. And Minecraft is you build it, right? So they both have building, and they both have attributes you can edit somehow. Less so Minecraft, but Halo's attributes you can edit, and Minecraft has building. So if you combine the two, you get emergence, right? Because I have no idea what players can come up with. Like, my original thoughts was like, okay, you can make soccer. Like with this, you can make soccer. You can make team deathmatch. You can make like horde mode. You can make, I don't know, those are 3 game types. I came up with it just off the top of my head, and I thought, okay, so what are the blocks? Like, let's start with blocks. The best way to do a prototype is with blocks, because it's easy to understand and it gets the point across. It's just you're displaying a mechanic, not an artistic ability. It's not like a tech demo. It's a mechanical prototype, so it doesn't need to be pretty. So we came up with like blocks. Blocks are beautiful. What kind of blocks do we have? Well, there was like static blocks that do nothing. There could be bounce blocks that like bounce around and act like as a ball, so you can use soccer. There's a trigger box, which would be a block that you would pass through, and it would like increment a score of some sort. Like it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be a solid block. There can be like an enemy block, which would spawn an enemy. That could be a slide block that would push you along. All these blocks. I started coming up with all these blocks that you can use, that players could, package together to make a game, like any game they wanted, really. So it was up to their imagination. So after class, we got the team together. I pitched the idea, and they all liked it. So I was like, I'll write up a document. So I became the designer. PY was the programmer, and Liz and Shirley were the artists. Now I know I said like art doesn't really matter, but there was still this like aesthetic about it. We still needed some assets, So they made like logos and like a really nice color palette and stuff that was really pleasing to the eye, because we didn't want to make it too intense. They did for a prototype. It was gorgeous. So I'm really glad that happened. Excuse me. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. So we got the planning phase done. I'm like, all right, let's go. So PY was the programmer, and he said, hey guys, he asked what view should it be in, and I was thinking like an isometric view, right? But like kind of like this. Oh, hold on. That's awful. I'm sorry. Let me just go down here. So I was thinking like an isometric view like this. Something like this, and like players would be here and here. It's 2-player co-op, and they would do whatever. But what PY gave us, in fact, which was much better, was a plain like a baseball diamond. It wasn't quite at this extreme angle, but it was like this, right? And the players were here and here. And the players were color coordinated. There was a purple player, and there was a yellow player. Oh, it's green, Dylan. Come on. Sweet. And there was a yellow player. And there was this there's this grid that you couldn't really see. Oh, that was awful. So there's this grid that I give up. So there's a grid on the plane that the blocks you would place that it would snap to, and this is actually where we ran into our first problem. The first and only problem, really. So, it was kind of tedious because we had keyboard controls before, right? And it was like you would have like WASD to move, and like spacebar would place, right? Or like shift would place. And then we had IKLJ and like shift for the other player. And it was really tedious because we had like a silhouette of a block in front of the player that it would like snap to a grid and show where it would place. And it was really hard to like make like really like if I had a line of blocks here and I wanted to place a block like right here, it was really hard to like place a block there with like to get it be in the right position. So I said, all right, screw that, let's move to controllers. Oh, that's a beautiful controller. Let's move to controllers. And they're like, why? It's because it's way better. So we used this joystick to move around where you're going to place the blocks, and this controller to make move, and it worked beautifully. It was so much easier to place anything on the map. So after we solved that, honestly, we didn't really run into any problems, and I was really surprised. It's because PY's king. PY's the best. that's the only reason why. So after this little tiny hiccup, everything was pretty much smooth sailing on our end. PY had a little bit of trouble with like certain mechanics and like placing blocks on top of each other, which he did pretty well. And then it was kind of funny. The first thing that he made with he added the bounce block to the game because we had to, other than that, it was just placing blocks. And the first thing he made was a trampoline. Like he placed 4 static blocks, or not 4. He placed a bunch of static blocks around 4 bounce blocks, and he made a trampoline. And I was shocked. I was like, oh, I didn't know you can make a trampoline. So he like that is something that emerged from the game. Like I didn't know you could. I didn't even think about that. So there you go. Like to me, that's when like we won. When people's like, oh yeah, check what I made. It's like, oh, I didn't know you can make that. Like it just didn't occur to me. So that was perfect. I was like, that's great. We already have an emergent game. And then he added a couple of other blocks, and then that was it. We presented our game, and yeah. So now it's time to move on to the post-mortem. Hooray! So for the post-mortem, we had a couple of our friends play test the game, and they they did pretty well. They kind of just screwed around with it, the system, which is exactly what we wanted. They just goofed around. But Yifat brought up a good example that there should be a cooperative goal to prevent it from becoming a toy. And toys and games are very different. Because essentially a toy is something you just screw around with for a little bit, and then you put down. Excuse me. But yeah, so lost my train of thought. Yeah, so we had planned to put in a couple of the blocks. Like we had like 20 or 25 blocks planned out, but obviously due to time constraints, PY couldn't put them out all at once, and that was very fair. That okay, yeah, I understand. That's more than okay. So like I think if we added the trigger block, would have realized that it wasn't a toy, it was a game prototype. But I'm pretty sure she knew that too. But like, if we were to develop this further, obviously it wouldn't be just this. Like there's a lot we could add to it, and it's a very great prototype because it's a very good base, proves the mechanic, and that's all we wanted to do. So mission accomplished. Everyone did a great job in their roles. I think we really came together as a team. We had a strong direction to begin with, and we stuck to it, and I think it was a resounding success. I'm really happy with my group, and yeah, I love what we did. I love what we came together to do, and I'd work with them again. So thanks for watching. And I guess I'll see you later, nerds. Bye.